Liana here, so it's a bit of a late night, early morning version of the podcast, but once again, I can't sleep. I'm just upset. I'm upset because once again, I've been put into this situation where I just I always feel like they're trying to pressure me into engaging with the females of this country. And as I said, until I have an apology, there's very little that I can do in order to have a conversation with them. I just it offends me to have to do that. And I know that these people are, sometimes just working and doing whatever, but I hurt so much. I have so much rage and depression, and I can't keep putting myself in this situation. So I am looking at immigrating to a new country because I can't live in a country that says, well, if you're homeless, we'll give you a home. If you are hungry, we'll give you food. But if you try to go outside, we're just going to fuck with you no matter what you do, where you go. We're going to try and get close to you. We're going to try and talk to you without your permission. Like, that's not the country that I want. I mean, that's not the city that I want. And if they took that energy that they waste trying to talk to me with maybe cleaning up the environment or cleaning their city or addressing things like the sewer system, which overflows every time it rains because they never update it, they never go through it at all because they say, well, it doesn't rain, so until it rains, then it's not an issue. And they say that with the forest fires, that until there's a forest fire, we won't do benefit concert. Until there's a forest fire, we won't take it seriously at all. And I know I keep talking about the benefit concert, but I will. I I will talk about it. I will talk about how the United States turned a tragedy into a money grab, just a money grab. All these people are paid. The musicians obviously should be paid for their talent. They're that talented. I can't even say it. I'm tongue tied. I'm literally tongue tied because no, absolutely not. But thank you for wishing that I did. Every day I live in a city that I don't want to live in. I live in an apartment which I don't want to live in. I live in a neighborhood I don't want to live in. And every month it's, do I make this space nicer for myself? And I say, no, I'm being abused. And I'm being abused to the point that I've had to get the police involved several times. And I could just chalk it up to there are a lot of crazy bitches in this fucking city, but at a certain point you have to say, well, what's the common denominator? Because if these are all different women trying to break into your apartment, try and, wait by the staircase and do whatever. No, because my home was once again a shitty place too. A shitty place because when it came down to COVID and I said, why don't you take care of these measures that I've outlined for you here because I am an expert. And if you listen to me, you could probably get through this a lot easier. They didn't even give me the time of day. And I understand, no, I don't have my PhD. I just have a fucking expertise in pandemic. I have a fucking expertise in physics, and it offends me that this country of the United States refuses to let me do anything besides be a victim of PTSD. If I had my veteran benefits, I could at least be an engineer by myself and go to Mars by myself. I don't need other people. I just need my fucking benefits. I don't know. this is something that's like a hugely personal issue to have, and lately it's hard to even talk about because it seems like I say things and it just evaporates into the air, and I can't think that way. I can't think that what I say doesn't matter, that it doesn't affect people, because it does. Just by people coming into this chat, it shows that somebody wants to hear the truth about this country, the truth that when they invented those calendars, they were just inventing a brand new way to shackle you to your government, a brand new way to just hold you in place so you don't reach for freedom, you don't reach for happiness, you don't reach for love. I have the privilege. Oh yes, I'm over the age of 18, obviously. I think definitely over the age of 18. I have the privilege of living in a modern society. I have the internet, I have electricity, I have everything. So when I go online, I use social media. What is freedom? Excellent question, Brenda. Freedom to me is the ability to live in an area where you're not having to just rub up against people just to get things done. That you have the freedom to eat where you want, eat how you want, sleep how you want, and raise your children in an environment where they actually learn things properly and not these schools. These American schools are doing very little to raise our children correctly. And I know that it's up to parents to do that. I want to say government makes that all possible because I'm on food stamps right now. I live in an apartment that my veteran benefits pay for. But they literally stuck me in the fucking ghetto and said, look, you're brown. Why don't you live where the brown people are? And it's just, yeah, but there's a lot of fireworks going on. And there's a woman with a megaphone outside. And I just don't want that. I know I'm a very, very boring person that I would rather read a book. I would rather create music than engage with people. But that's where my life is right now. I mean, if you're on this channel, then you know that I make music. Hello, Chapo. Hello, Alexander. Hello, Brenda. Hello, Chosen One. Nice to see you all. I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, so no, I can't work. And no, I don't consider being an engineer work. I consider that a volunteer position to try and repair some of the damage that Americans have done to the environment. Brenda is right, you know, government does make things possible. However, they also make fires happen, as in the LA fires, which I talk about in every single podcast, because those were events that we could have completely avoided. I love Korea, so I would welcome any move. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I would be invited with open arms because I'm smart, I'm dedicated, and I love Asian women, so fuck yeah. Clint, welcome to the channel. I spoke on Facebook to the EPA because they were doing one of their, I, I want to say, look at us, look at what we're doing sort of posts. They had them in the hazmat suit saying, we're removing the hazardous materials from the wildfires. It was like, Okay, great. Now, why didn't you do anything about the conditions that caused those wildfires? Why aren't you doing anything from the beginning of this story where it was extremely dry? It was a desert. Those aren't forests anymore. You can't call them forests when the trees haven't had water in years, properly. Years. I have PTSD from military sexual trauma. People come in and out of the chat, so that's fine. I'm still gonna talk about this. You know, I'm glad that people out there as brave as Clint, trying to be a wildlife conservationist. I am huge into, you know what? I'm huge into animal activism. I'm huge into, no, I mean, I'm very adamant. I guess ugh, I've been here too long. I'm very exhausted. I'm very adamant about advocating for the safe and ethical treatment of animals, especially on farms. Just because we consume their meat doesn't mean that we have to devalue their living standards. The same thing with living in California, because Clint is absolutely right. There's not enough people in the forestry department to go through every illegal campsite, every tree and mark it to see that it's healthy or not. They just they don't have enough people, but they should. That should be something in your budget. That should be something that the Los Angeles people just do. This is why I'm on YouTube right now, because I will not shut up. I will not stop. I will continue talking about this issue until I see change. I don't care if I have to stay up. I don't care if nobody listens. I don't care if I feel terrible because I feel like I'm not doing enough. I have to keep trying. I'm not complaining about it. I am doing something about my life. I'm doing something to improve my life by saying that this city of Los Angeles is worth shit to me. I have lived in this city for 3 years, and 3 years of those nasty motherfuckers groping me on buses, those nasty motherfuckers trying to sneak up behind me, those nasty motherfuckers trying to break into my apartment. Fuck this city. That's what I say. But by also saying fuck this city, I also have to say you're fucking yourselves when your city is set on fire and then you throw a benefit concert so people could dance on the corpses of birds and animals that were incinerated by human greed. Like, that's your favorite song playing. Are you really thinking about dead animals then? No, you're not. Now, I know a lot of people don't think of it that way. They think about human tragedy. Oh, somebody lost a house. Oh, that Xbox. Oh, it's on fire right now. I think about rabbits, wolves, bears that had no concept of fire, had no concept. They don't know what it is. They just know it touched everything around them and it died. I do have a job right now. My job is to end pollution here. My job is to clear the smog from the atmosphere. My job is to be a disabled American veteran, get my fucking veteran benefits, and still be a volunteer who fucking supports California not turning into a desert. That is my fucking job. So don't you ever fucking say that I'm a fucking lazy bitch. Not in any site. Not in any site there. I am a disabled American veteran, and so I say, fuck you, American bitches who fucking sexually abused me in the military. Fuck you for always trying to engage with me. And yes, thank you to American women who did respect me, who did allow me to do wonderful things. Like, I don't hate all women, but after being sexually abused in the military under military orders, I have every right to say, we are done. We are absolutely done. Do I support you? Do I support women's rights? Do I support women's issues? Of course I do. But I have an issue with women, and I don't have to talk to them in public if I don't have to. I have that choice. If I was a cisgender woman who was raped or sexually abused, everyone would understand that. But because of the fact that I have a lovely beard and I have a penis and balls, people say, you know what, be a man about it. Get over it. And it's like, I'm not fucking getting over bullshit. I'm not getting over bullshit. And you're right, Clint. Clint, you are the hero of this chat. I am a disabled American. You tell what your problems are and you strive to make the world a better place. I absolutely agree. I believe in the power of the disabled. I believe in the power of people who are differently able. I mean, you have no idea the amount of heroism that goes into facing the world every single day when you have to overcome something. I look at people like Stevie Wonder, I look at people like Ray Charles, people who are blind, and they create music which uplifts people. They create music that they have benefit concerts that feature it. I believe, at least from my recollections, like Stevie Wonder was doing wonderful things for Africa. So I know for a fact that disabled people, they do so much. They can rise above it, but don't think for a second that they're not disabled too. My disability is, I have a physical disability, but I also have the mental disability of PTSD from military sexual trauma. Now, I have gone on to what happened with me in several podcasts, but I have every right to refuse to associate with the American people. I can try and rescue them. I can be that hero, but like, they haven't earned the right to talk to me in a way that is a one-on-one basis. They can talk to me on here. I always recommend people to reach out to me here, and to be honest, I don't mind a bit of criticism from people. And it is 100% correct. I'm 100% disabled, as in I can function with people, but that doesn't mean that I can't contribute to society in a different way. There's a difference between work and volunteering. You can always volunteer. I highly recommend to people to volunteer in their communities. I do food pantries, I do food kitchens, homeless outreach, city cleanup, just picking some litter off the road, the sidewalk. You think that it's a small thing, it's huge. It's huge. Anyone can have that kind of impact. And we need people to think of it that way. Think of it as something that you can do and something that you can continue with as a good habit. If you see litter, pick it up. Wash your hands, obviously, and when you get a chance to, but pick it up, because for every piece of litter that you see, there's 100 people who just walk by it. When you pick up litter that isn't your own, you're showing the quality of your character. You're showing that you're a person of value who values your community. I don't like this community, I still value it. I've show that I value it because number one, I made the song East LA song, the East LA song for the community that I'm in. And then occasionally I do litter removal for the town that I live in because even though it upsets me to live here, there are still good people here, there's still decent people here, and guess what? I live here. So I'm not gonna look at a bunch of litter in my neighborhood because that just it reflects poorly on me. And even though I dislike the area, I don't want to be here, I have to say, am I a person who disrespects an area by not picking up litter when I see it? I'm not that kind of person. I'm the person who picks up the litter because I think of myself as somewhat humble, but I know my value and I know that I'm better than this city. I'm better than this. I'm better than a city that pollutes the atmosphere and then does a benefit concert for a bunch of people who lost their Xboxes and houses and sometimes their lives, yes. But Los Angeles is for the most part still here. That forest is gone. That forest was a city. That forest had animals in it, it had birds in it, it had trees in it. Those trees are alive. Those trees feel pain. They scream. And just because you can't hear it doesn't mean that it isn't so. So I'm on here today doing an earlier podcast than I normally do because this conversation is important. As much as I want to flee and not fight and just give up on this state because this state fucking pisses me off every single day. Every single day that I wake up in Los Angeles, I just say to myself, these people are so egotistical, so wrapped up in themselves and their fucking Hollywood that they don't even think about the beauty of the fucking area. You watch a movie like Twilight, it's about vampires and werewolves, and all I could say is, damn, it is fucking beautiful to be running in the forest. Look at that. Look at the forest. Look how green the trees are. That is fresh air. Clint, you're absolutely right. This is why I need my veteran benefits because I need to just get out of this apartment game. Living in this apartment for the last 2 years has proven to me I am a community person. And as to that person who said go back to Africa, it's only partly true because I'm actually more Asian and Native American slash First Nations than I am African. I have African blood in me, as in everybody does, including Caucasian people. If you're a human, you're black. I don't know how else to explain that. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear that. If you're human, you're black. You're some light-skinned motherfuckers, but you're still black. All your genes, everything you are comes from being black. You're not a completely different species. So when people say stuff like that, I just say, have you really looked in the mirror? And aren't you really a bit jealous? Just a little bit jealous of the freedom that black people have, the freedom of their culture, the exuberance that they have, that they're not repressed, that they can express things like joy. But either way, I'm talking about California, and I want more. I want more in life. I want to be able to raise a family and be a stay-at-home dad. I need to go to therapy. I need to speak to my doctor. I need to do a lot of things in order to make that happen. But I know that if I stay in Los Angeles, that's just not happening. Nature is beautiful. I'm so glad I can have this conversation because I know that I talk about the fires and you know, being more community minded. I don't often talk about just the gratitude and appreciation of living in harmony with nature. And I mean, knowing that a tree is there and knowing what a tree represents really. A tree is your lung. Trees are lungs. You can remove every single Starbucks, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Burger King out of a city. If you chop down every single tree, no one lives. When you think of things that way, trees are important. I wish this state would acknowledge that, we should grieve for the human lives that we lost, but we need to grieve for the trees, those wonderful trees that were 50 feet tall, 100 feet tall, 200 feet tall. These tall, tall trees that were thirsty. No, I agree. There's no way for me to get through to these people. I try, I try, I try. The only conversation that these people try to have with me on a bus is what breed of dog I have. If you live in Los Angeles, everyone should know I'm a magician slash mutant. So my animal and I pretty much do magic on a regular basis. And if you live in Los Angeles, you know magic is real now, and you know mutants are. You know that mutants are real. So that's California, I guess. But either way, just that relationship that I have with my animal alone, of mutual respect, of companionship, of community. I want people to feel. I want people to feel the way that they feel about their dogs, cats, reptiles, birds, the way they feel about trees. Those trees give you life. They bring life into your house, your family. I'm so upset. I can't even speak anymore. My brain is just so hurt from the grief of the loss of these forests. Grief. I am in turmoil thinking about how many trees are gone, how many animals are gone, how there's not enough wildlife conservationists sent out into these areas to go help these animals, help these birds that are now burned, scarred, deformed. I would love to say, this is nature's way. Nature did this. It's Mother Nature. Mother Nature had a huge helping hand by Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, who through their environmental policies pretty much offered up that forest as a blood sacrifice. Why can't anybody else see it that way? Why can't anybody else look at how much it means to lose a forest? You can rebuild a house. You can't have a tree 100 feet tall for some of these animals that only roost or only make a den in a tree that's that tall. They displaced entire species. It sometimes feels that way. But it's good to see animals and plants as part of your family. That's how we are built. I know I love technology, I love the internet, I love video games and television and modern convenience of traveling long distances by little metal tubes. It's not how we're designed. We can maybe reach that at some point, but we're not there yet. And we shouldn't try and reach for that at the expense of everything else on the planet. Change.org/Genius to Mars is in the description. It's a petition that I have to send me to a university, and thank you, Clint. I know I am overextending myself with all of this emotion over a bunch of trees and some furry little animals that I don't even know their names, or if they still exist after such horrible fires. And yeah, the forest might recover, or it might not. The way that we are drying out the atmosphere here in Los Angeles is terrible. We're drying each other out. I watched this show on Amazon Prime. It's called The Rig. Lovely Scottish cast. Lovely. Wow. Lovely people. Spoiler alert. There was one scene where, someone, and all the water just poured out of this poor man. And I said, oh, that's a lovely little plot element. And then I realized that's what happens to us. That's what happens to all of us. At a certain age, we stop drinking water. We don't see water as the most delicious thing on earth. Water should be the most delicious thing to you. It is precious. If you go outside the United States, outside of Europe, and go into countries on the African continent, countries in Asia, or even in Australia, they value water because they know heat. So when I saw that lovely scene, I said, that's all of us. Every time we choose kombucha tea, every time that we choose coffee, every time we choose some sort of bubbly, refreshing drink or some protein powder, we are removing water from our diet, and then therefore the water just pours out of us even more. We are drying ourselves out. I mean, it's lovely if you want to see your abs and whatnot, but we need water. We need water for our biological processes. We need water to look healthy. water is important. Water is important to us and it's important to those trees. The fact that Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass have ignored my change.org/clear LA smog, where it's a petition to change the roads, change the materials that they use, so this way it could be more breathable and more durable in order to protect the cars that go over it, so they don't injure the mufflers, don't injure the exhaust system that they have that actually has filters. But they don't want to talk to me. I'm a disabled American veteran. I am rude. I'm also right. I'm absolutely right that we need rain. We need rain here in Los Angeles. We need people of Los Angeles to value water. Value water on their skin. Value water in the air. Thicken up this atmosphere here because it's already thick with smoke. And I should be a doctor. I should be a doctor, so therefore I could help, I could do more, I could be something more than a disabled American veteran. But doctors get to their patients when they're already injured. They get to their patients when it's often too late. Since I'm not a doctor, I can get to people before that happens. I can reach out to them through a podcast and say, you need to start caring about your lungs, you need to start caring about your body, and start talking to your politicians about what's going on in the environment. Because if you think that it doesn't affect you, it does. Thank you for the subscription, Clint. I appreciate it. As I said, I'm a bit knackered, so not exactly at my best, but I am adamant to keep talking about environmental issues. Thank you for joining me today. I know that it is a lot to talk to people continually about the same thing, but I can't give up. I can't run away and say, Los Angeles, go do what you want. Just keep forcing young people to idolize these musicians, idolize these actors and the wealth that they have, knowing that this city is poisoning them, knowing that this city is affecting their health and just making them addicted to a lifestyle that they'll never attain because either they don't have enough talent or they don't have enough confidence. But either way, they live in a city which is harmful to them. So I hate LA, love me anyway. This is my podcast. I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to keep doing impromptu. I usually do my podcast at 1800 Pacific Standard Time. So if you find me then, that's the usual time for my podcast. Everyone, try to do something for your community. I will see you tonight for the podcast at 1800 Pacific Standard Time.